The sun bled across the endless plains of Wyoming, painting the horizon in crimson and gold. The wind carried the dry scent of dust and sagebrush as Colt McGraw rode back to his ranch, a man known for silence, for strength, and for keeping his heart locked tighter than a gun chamber. He was tall, broad-shouldered, with a jaw that could cut, stone and eyes that had seen too much war and too little mercy. That evening, a storm gathered over the horizon as he reached the small town of Red Hollow. The saloon was buzzing with gamblers, drifters, and cowhands trying to drink away their loneliness. Colt wasn't one for company, but he was there for business to settle a debt that wasn't his. Inside, behind the bar, stood a man named Sheriff Wayne Harker, a lawman with greed in his veins and cruelty in his eyes. Sitting near him, shackled and silent, was a young woman. Her name was Clara. Her dress was torn, her wrists bruised, and her pride broken but not gone. "She's for sale," Harker said with a sneer when Colt approached. "Her brother owed me money he couldn't pay. She's working it off." Colt's jaw tightened. His hand went to his pocket and threw down a leather pouch heavy with gold coins. The sheriff raised a brow. "That's a lot of money for a stranger." "She's not a stranger anymore," Colt replied, his voice low and calm as thunder before lightning. "You've been paid. Now unchain her." The sheriff's laugh died when Colt's hand brushed the gun at his hip. A Colt 45, the same one that had ended 6 men in the war. Slowly the sheriff stepped aside. Clara looked up, her eyes full of disbelief. "You paid for me," she whispered. Colt looked at her, his face carved from silence. "Now do it," he said. Her heart skipped. "Do what?" "Live," he said. "That's all." They rode out before dawn, the storm breaking behind them. The thunder rolled over Red Hollow like a warning. By the time the rain washed the dust from the road, Colt and Clara were halfway across the prairie, heading for his ranch, a lonely stretch of land surrounded by mountains and sorrow. For days, she spoke little. He didn't ask questions. They were two broken souls, each carrying scars too deep for words. She watched him work fixing fences, feeding horses, mending roofs, always silent, always steady. He gave her a small cabin beside the barn, clean clothes, and food on the table. No demands, no touch, just space to breathe again. But silence can turn into something else when two people share it too long. Some nights she'd hear him playing a harmonica by the fire, soft and mournful. Some mornings he'd find her already awake, tending to the horses, her hair undone, eyes steady. Then came the day when trouble rode back into their lives. Sheriff Harker and his men, 4 of them, came to reclaim what Colt had bought. "You think gold settles everything, McGraw?" Harker spat, stepping down from his horse. "That girl's property of the law." Colt stood still in front of Clara, his hand resting near his gun. The wind howled across the plains, stirring the dust at their boots. "She's not property," Colt said. "And you're not the law." The sheriff laughed, but the sound died when Colt's revolver gleamed. A single shot cracked the air. Then another. The ranch fell silent except for the echo of gunfire and the slow, deliberate rhythm of Colt's breathing. When it was over, Clara stood frozen, her heart racing. He turned to her, eyes dark, voice steady. "You're safe now." She took a step forward. "Why do you keep saving me?" He looked away, his voice rough. "Because someone once paid for me too." That night, as the firelight flickered across the cabin walls, she sat beside him for the first time. The distance between them, once wide as the prairie, began to fade. Her hand brushed his hesitant, trembling. He didn't pull away. "Colt," she whispered, her voice breaking. "You didn't have to." "I did," he said, looking into her eyes for the first time. "Because you deserve more than chains. You deserve a home." The silence between them became a heartbeat. The ranch, once cold and empty, began to breathe again with her laughter, with the smell of bread baking, with a warmth he hadn't known in years. And as the weeks turned into months, Red Hollow's whispers began to reach them how the outlaw rancher had bought a woman, and somehow ended up with a wife. But out there under the vast Wild West sky, no law, no rumor, no past could change what had begun between them. Something fierce, fragile, and real. Clara still remembered his words the night she first looked at him, not as a savior, but as a man. "You paid for me," she had said softly, and his answer, just as before, was the same. "Now do it." But this time she knew exactly what he meant.